We're going to be doing basket twist. We're going to start out with some 5/16. We're going to forge weld those together into a basket. So I've used different sizes. I've used 5/16 and 1/4 inch. I've used 3/8 and 1/4 inch. It doesn't really matter what you do, as long as you can get the welds to set. Your imagination pretty much is what drives you with these baskets. I'm going to be showing you the more traditional way of setting up your basket, and then what can these baskets be used for. Well, one example is the fire poker handle. Another example is forge welding an 8-strand onto a chunk of 5160 coil spring to then get your handle, or forge welding a 4-strand onto some mower blade to get your handle. You know, just various types of things that you can do to push yourself in the education of blacksmithing and bladesmithing, just also to be more ornate. So what we're going to do for this first to get go is we're going to wire up our first bundle. So prior to you actually getting your pieces into a bundle, you need to clean the places where you're going to weld. It's no different than when you're doing a Damascus billet. Clean your steel, clean your steel, clean your steel, unless you're doing a hot set. It's really hard to do a hot set with these. I've done it, but it's a pain in the ass. If you want to attempt it, go right ahead. It's a good educational tool, but you clean your pieces first, get all the mill scale off. I've cleaned about 2 inches on all 4 of these, and then I've cut some wire, and this is just electrical fence wire that I use. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 4 pieces, and it doesn't matter how long they are, and what we're going to do, now you can put these in the vise, but the easiest way to do it, you're going to take your first wire and you're going to wrap it around. And you don't need to worry about how tight it is to begin with, because you're going to take your needle nose pliers, and then you're going to start twisting this wire up to where it starts to bite down and tighten up your bundle. Now that's pretty tight right there. We're going to add 2 more of these, and I just clip my tails, get them out of the way. This will burn off, and a lot of times you don't even have to cut it to get at it, because it'll just drop away, and by that time your weld is usually set, so you don't have to worry too much about it coming apart. Now as all my wire falls on the ground. And like I said, we're going to do 3 of these, 2 on the ends and 1 in the middle. And the reason you do 3 of them is that if one comes off and you're not welded, you still have 2 more to hold your bundle together. And I like wiring these up. We'll get this last one in here, and then we'll go check our forge. So there's the bundle, all wired up and ready to go. Okay, I turned this up to 3. It's nice and warm, but we're not quite to forge weld temperature yet. So, flux. All I use is straight out of the box, borax, laundry detergent. Don't breathe that shit. Laundry detergent. A lot of people I know bake it to dry it out. I don't. Never had a problem with it. So when you're welding this, treat it just like cable Damascus. If you've never done cable Damascus, it is flux often, and flux some more. I mean, all the time, every single heat. You just want to flux. Now my initial heat that I'm going to do is just going to be to get them kind of stuck. I don't do any brushing when I do this forge weld. Okay, we're going to come out here and we're just going to tap it in place. Now those are stuck. The other side's loose. I'm going to come back. I'm going to flux again, making sure that I get more than enough flux in there. Stick them right back in. Okay, so that's nice and closed up. We're going to switch to the other side. Now this has already been warming up, so I am going to flux it right now just to get flux on it. It hasn't created any scale. You can see how open that is in there. Stick it back in this side. Already a slight twist in my bar, on my bundle, but that's not a big deal. You can see this twist that comes this way. It doesn't really matter because you're going to twist it anyways. Once again, we flux every heat. Okay, here we go. Now I'm not putting anything on the corners yet because I don't want to put undue stress on my weld. But that is set. Once again, just because we do have, these are round pieces, so there is some slight openings right at the edge. I want to close it all up, so I need to continue fluxing to do so. Okay. Starting to disappear. These ends are really starting to really work out here. It's looking really nice. Starting to really, my seams are starting to disappear, which is what I'm going for, and we got really nice weld happening. But I'm going to flux it up a little bit, maybe not as much as what I've been doing, just a little dusting. But I do want it hot, so I can really work my tip in. And now I'm at a 3/4 blow, and I'm just working that tip to get that point. Okay, there's that tip on this side. We're going to flip it around. We're going to do the other side. we're back to the light hits. I just did enough to set this weld. Just a nice sprinkling here. A little bit harder now. Okay, here we go. Just doing some planishing blows right now, getting it all nice and straight and flat. I'm also going to take my wires off too. This one's a little bit longer than the other one. So I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it back in there on the other side and refine this end of it here so it matches the other side. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just matching up everything. Trying to get both sides to look somewhat alike. And there we go. So now we're going to stick it in the forge and heat up this centerpiece and do our twist. Right where the weld begins. It's already somewhat twisted. We're going to put our wrench on it. And we're just going to continue with that twist. Brush. Alright, so, and then I'm going to back it off. Back the other way with it. Until it closes up. And then put a little bit of down pressure. And there's the basket. So this is now cooled down. It needs to be cleaned up. But this is the original, the first twist basket we did. Still has the wire on it. You can see it right there. But that is the first one we did. And they're just, this is even cleaned up and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Let's see, if I wanted to weld this to something else, what I would do is I would take and cut that off right there, or upset this back into itself. Most likely cut it off, scarf that, and then weld it onto another stick, if that's what I want to do. What I'll probably end up doing with these is getting them all cleaned up, refining our welds out here. Don't normally like to do the basket beforehand, but you can see how this is the bottom. You can see how, or if you're looking for that teardrop or that water drop, this could be the bottom. I kind of like that idea better. So this be the top hook that hooks in, and you have this kind of bulging out that kind of just culminates right here at the bottom. The reason that did that is because of the size of forge weld. The forge weld forge I have wasn't getting quite hot enough right up in here, but it turned out great. Absolutely beautiful piece. And those are those forge welds that are still has some flux on it, but those seams, you can see them start to come back in right in here, but the main weld is right here. That whole body is still forge welded all together. rather elegant. Love it. Appreciate those that are going to learn something from this down the road or right now. Go out and try it. Probably teach a lot of classes is what I live for. So I want to thank everybody. Stay safe out there in our current environment and forge on, everybody.